Hi Southway children! For today's assembly we are going to be looking at another inspirational person. This is an amazing woman and her name is Malala Yousafzai. She says that every child should have a right to education. So we're going to have a look at who she is and why she is so well known. This is Malala. Malala is a Pakistani activist who gained fame and respect throughout the world for her courageous campaigning for every child's right to education. She believes it's so important that every child has the right to go to school and learn. So who is Malala? Malala was born on the 12th of July 1997 and she was raised in Swat Valley in North Pakistan. During her early childhood, Malala's hometown of Mingora was a tourist hotspot and held many festivals like the one you can see below. Her parents named her Malala after Malala of the Marwand, who was a courageous woman who helped to protect her village from invasion over 100 years before. Education was highly regarded in Malala's family, and her father was actually a poet but also a principal, so a head teacher of a girls' school. He was a firm believer of equal rights for boys and girls. Malala calls her mother brave and courageous for supporting her husband's dreams and ambitions, as well as taking care of the family and their home. This is a picture of the girls' school. Malala had two younger brothers who we can see here. So this is Malala, her father, her mother, and her two brothers. Her parents was determined to ensure that she, unlike many of her other peers, was afforded the same education and got the same opportunities as her two brothers. Malala loved school, but at the time in Pakistan, all schools for girls, like that one we saw on the previous slide, were being ordered to close. So Malala was unable to go to school as her brothers had. Malala was really unhappy about this as she loved school so much and she really didn't understand why this was the case. So she decided to do something about it. We're going to read a story now about her life which has been written by her called Malala's Magic Pencil. Malala's Magic Pencil by Malala Yousafzai. Do you believe in magic? When I was younger, I used to watch a TV show about a boy who had a magic pencil. If he was hungry, he drew a bowl of curry and it appeared. If he and his friends were in danger, he drew a police officer. The boy was a little hero, always protecting people who needed help. How I wanted a magic pencil too. If I had a magic pencil, I would use it too. Put a lock on my door so my brothers couldn't bother me. Stop time so I could sleep an extra hour in the morning. And erase the smell of the rubbish dump near our house. And I would use it to make other people happy. I would draw the most beautiful dresses in the world for my mother, the best buildings in the valley for my father, so that he could open many schools where children would study for free. A proper ball so my brothers and I no longer had to play with an old sock stuffed with rubbish. Every night before I went to bed, I wished for a magic pencil of my own, and every morning I would wake up and check my cupboard, but the magic pencil was never there. One day, I was throwing away potato peelings and eggshells at the dump. I was wrinkling my nose, swatting away flies, and making sure I didn't step on anything dirty in my nice shoes when I saw a girl about my age sorting rubbish into piles. Nearby, boys were fishing for metal scraps using magnets on strings. When my father returned home from work, I told him what I'd seen. It made him sad. Abba, I said. Yes, Yanni, he said back. I always liked it when he called me dear one. Why haven't I seen that girl in my class? Because he said, but he didn't finish right away. Because, Yanni, in our country, not everybody sends their daughters to school, and some children must work to support their family. Those boys will sell the metal scraps they find. If they went to school, their families would go hungry. School was my favourite place, but I'd never considered myself lucky to be able to go. My father had always said, Malala will live free as a bird. Now I wondered how free I'd truly be. That night I thought about families who didn't have enough food and the girl who couldn't go to school, and even about how when I was older I would be expected to cook and clean for my brothers, because where I came from, girls weren't allowed to become what they dreamed of. I knew then that if I had the magic pencil I would use it to draw a better world, a peaceful world. First I would erase war, poverty and hunger. Then I would draw girls and boys together as equals. Over the next few years, instead of wishing for a magic pencil every night, I worked hard in school every day. I wanted to be one of the top students in my class. But soon, powerful and dangerous men declared that girls were forbidden from attending school. They walked the streets of our city now. They carried weapons. One by one, girls stopped coming to school. Abba, where are all the students? They don't feel safe here anymore, Yanni. How could a few men stop all the girls in our valley from going to school? If more people knew what was happening to us, I thought, they might help. Wishing wasn't enough. Someone needed to speak out. Why not me? I wrote about what it felt like to be scared to walk to school and how some of my friends had moved away because of the threat they faced in our city. I wrote about how much I loved school and how proud I was of my uniform. Once I started writing, I didn't stop. I wrote speeches and travelled around my country sharing my story. I even talked to a reporter from a famous international newspaper. People actually wanted to learn about my life. I spoke for all the girls in my valley who couldn't speak for themselves. My voice became so powerful that dangerous men tried to silence me, but they failed. Now, my voice is louder than ever. Louder because people have joined me and together we make a chorus standing up for what we believe. We raise our voices for those in need. We help people in danger even if they're an ocean way. We think of the world as a family. Do you still believe in magic? I do. I wrote alone in my room, but people all over the world were reading my story. Millions now know it and help me spread my message of hope. I had at last found the magic I was looking for, in my words and in my work. I am Malala. I've always wished I could make the world a more peaceful place, and every day I work to make my wish come true. One child, one teacher, one book and one pen can change the world. So, as we've just read in that story of Malala's magic pencil, she was so unhappy with what was happening that she wanted to express it and wanted other people to know what she and the other girls were experiencing. So she began to write. She even said, I don't mind if I have to sit on the floor at school. All I want is education, and I'm afraid of no one. So she began to write an anonymous blog about her experience of all the unequal treatment of girls in Pakistan. This was a really risky topic for a young girl to speak about, so she wrote using a different name. However, when she had given her first speech on the rights of education, she didn't want to hide, so she used her real name. She even won a lot of peace awards and attended a lot of events. As we read in the story, some people did not agree with what Malala had to say. They did not want her views to become well known. And unfortunately, as she was travelling home one day from school, she was injured on a bus home. She was flown to Birmingham in the United Kingdom to treat the wounds that she had suffered. Even though she was very ill, she made a miraculous recovery and was released from hospital less than 3 months later. Lots of support for Malala flooded in from around the world, and lots of messages of sympathy from celebrities and famous politicians as well. The President of Pakistan, he created an education fund in honour of Malala. Malala was determined to continue all of her work to support the right for education for all. And even only 9 months after her injury, Malala took to the stage at the United Nations, which is an organisation which aims to ensure world peace and security. It was even her 16th birthday the day she did this. She said that nothing had changed and that she had more strength, power and courage than ever before. My dreams are the same, she stated, and the United Nations named that day Malala Day. She still, even knowing the views of others, continues to campaign for equal rights in education, and at age 17 she was the youngest person in the world to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. Malala and her father even set up a support called the Malala Fund, which helps children just like those girls that Malala saw on the rubbish dump be able to access education and have the support they need to be able to access the right to education. And as of a couple of days ago, Malala managed to finish her degree and graduate from Oxford University in philosophy, politics and economics. She says that her dream is to be a politician, a job where she knows she can really help to make a difference.